So, picture this. It's March 17th, 1943. A single intelligence report lands on a desk in Berlin. It's not about some new secret weapon or a hidden army. It's just about a factory. But buried inside the numbers of this report was the mathematical certainty that Germany was going to lose the war. The only problem, it was a truth so terrifying, so honestly unbelievable, that the Nazi leadership just refused to see it. This is the story of that one report and the prophecy it held.
So this was the bombshell that landed on the desks of the German High Command, a 4-engine heavy bomber rolling off a single assembly line every 60 minutes. I mean, think about that. A complex 18-ton war machine every single hour. To the German leadership, this wasn't intelligence. It was a joke, right? It had to be some clumsy American propaganda. It was so absurd they actually laughed at it. But the German spies on the ground, the ones who actually gathered this data, they knew better. For them, it was a death sentence written in plain numbers.
And the guy holding this impossible report? That was Admiral Wilhelm Canaris. He was the head of German military intelligence. Now, Canaris was, well, he was a real oddity in the Third Reich. This guy was an old-school professional. He lived and breathed cold, hard facts, which, as you can imagine, made him stick out like a sore thumb among the fanatics and ideologues in Hitler's inner circle.
And you really have to get the context of early 1943 to understand why this report was such a bomb. I mean, the tide of the war was already turning. The disaster at Stalingrad, that was a massive, brutal shock to the system. The Soviets were starting to push back with incredible force, and the front in North Africa was collapsing. But at the very top, Hitler was becoming more and more detached from reality. He was absolutely convinced that sheer German will, just willpower alone, could overcome any material disadvantage.
But Canaris, he saw things very differently. See, he wasn't a fanatic. He was more like a calculator. He understood what modern war had become. It wasn't just about armies clashing on a battlefield anymore. It was a brutal collision of economies, a war of production, just a cold equation of steel and oil and aluminum. And the numbers his agents were sending back from America, they absolutely terrified him.
So where were these terrifying numbers even coming from? It wasn't some secret weapon lab. It was a single place, this massive industrial complex in Michigan called Willow Run. And that is where the American side of this brutal war equation was being solved.
And this is where you can really see these two completely different worlds colliding. You've got the German factories, right? The pride of Europe. They relied on master craftsmen, guys who would take weeks, sometimes even months, to build a single bomber, all in the pursuit of perfection. Then you have the Americans. They weren't pursuing perfection. They were pursuing volume. They just broke the whole process down into tiny, simple, repetitive tasks that pretty much anyone could be trained to do in a hurry. To the German way of thinking, this wasn't just a different method, it was insulting.
And the scale of this place, it was just staggering. The main building at Willow Run was one single room that stretched for over half a mile. It was so huge, people started calling it the most enormous room in the history of man. And this is where Henry Ford made what sounded like an incredibly arrogant promise. He said he was going to build bombers just like he built his Model T cars.
Okay, so why was this so hard for the Germans to believe? Why did it seem so impossible? Well, it really all came down to ideology. Hitler and his inner circle, they looked at America with just pure contempt. They called it a mongrel society, a chaotic, racially impure nation of, I don't know, shopkeepers, who just didn't have the discipline for this kind of focused, massive industrial achievement.
But the reality on the factory floor? Oh, that was something else entirely. At its peak, Willow Run had 42,000 people working there. Almost a third of them were women, your iconic Rosie the Riveters. Nearly 10% were African American. You had thousands of immigrants, even people classified as disabled. This was the exact mongrel society that Hitler disdained so much, and they were about to outproduce his so-called master race at a rate that just defied all belief.
So now you've got Admiral Canaris, armed with this terrifying mathematical certainty. He has to do the impossible. He's got to somehow penetrate the ideological fortress that's been built up around Hitler. His first stop, the second most powerful man in Germany, the head of the Air Force, the Luftwaffe.
And the response he got from Reichsmarschall Hermann Göring? He laughed. He just laughed it off. His now famous quote that Americans are very good at refrigerators and razor blades, I mean, that just perfectly sums up the whole Nazi worldview. To them, America was just a consumer society, not a martial one. The idea that these people could mass-produce a state-of-the-art heavy bomber was, well, it was completely beyond his comprehension.
And this goes way deeper than just simple ignorance. For Göring, to accept this report would have been a devastating personal failure. It would mean his own intelligence services had missed the single most critical development of the entire war, And it would mean that his beloved Luftwaffe was about to be swept from the skies. It was just so much easier to call it clumsy propaganda than to admit he was dead wrong.
When the information finally made its way to Hitler himself, the reaction was pretty much the same, but it was laced with even more ideological poison. He just dismissed the figures as inflated fantasies. He actually took it as a personal insult to his entire worldview. See, in his mind, this war wasn't about logistics. It was a test of will, of blood, of racial superiority. So this warning, it wasn't seen as valuable intelligence. No, it was seen as a symptom of defeatism, of weakness. So the truth was rejected. The spies who reported it were dismissed. The admiral who delivered it was silenced. But you can't deny reality forever. The consequences of that denial, they were inevitable. They came first as a distant rumble, and then as a terrifying roar that filled the skies over Germany.
And just like that, the Willow Run prophecy came true with brutal efficiency. By late 1943, that trickle of Allied bombers turned into a flood. Then came February 1944, big week, when thousands of bombers, many of them straight from Willow Run, just systematically annihilated the German aircraft industry. The very cities that Göring had promised would never ever be touched by an enemy bomb were reduced to rubble.
And this is where the numbers just become absolutely mind-bending. I mean, just look at this. One single American factory, Willow Run, produced more four-engine heavy bombers than the entire German aircraft industry did during the entire war. It wasn't even close.
And if you zoom out from just that one factory, the numbers get even more staggering. Between 1940 and 1945, the U.S. cranked out over 300,000 military aircraft. Germany, about 94,000. There was an American industrialist who put it perfectly. He said, "We won because we smothered the enemy in an avalanche of production." And that's exactly what happened.
So what happened to the man who tried to sound the alarm in the first place? Well, as the war turned against Germany, Admiral Canaris' sober, fact-based realism, it started to look a lot like treason to the fanatics in charge. After the failed assassination plot against Hitler in July 1944, he was arrested. And then on April 9, 1945, just weeks before the war was over, he was executed. He was murdered by the very regime he had tried to save from its own blindness.
So when you boil it all down, what's the real takeaway here? This wasn't a failure of German spying. The spies, they did their job brilliantly. They got the intel, they got the numbers right. No, this was a catastrophic failure of acceptance. A failure right at the very top to accept a truth they didn't like.
What we're really looking at here is something you could call a total cognitive collapse. It's this inability to process facts, hard, cold facts, that contradict a deeply held fanatical ideology. The Nazi leadership was so blinded by their own propaganda, by their own myths about themselves, that they literally could not believe the numbers.
You know, in the end, the Third Reich wasn't defeated by some secret weapon or a brilliant new military strategy. They were defeated by simple arithmetic. They built this entire worldview on the sands of mythology and prejudice, and it was all just washed away by a relentless tide of mathematical reality.
Which I think leaves us with a pretty powerful question. The story of Willow Run is really a chilling reminder of this battle that can happen inside any government, any organization, heck, even inside each one of us. It's that battle between an ideology that you want to believe and a hard fact that you simply can't ignore.